So the first question that we have this month is about mosquitoes. Give us some organic mosquito control. And there is going to be a PDF for those in Patreon about organic mosquito and insect control stuff that's going to be coming later on this month. Now, for mosquitoes, again, I was just talking about this. There's a benefit to the ecosystem. Some things are going to thrive because of those mosquitoes, the dragonflies, the bats, the shrimp. Those are all going to be thriving. The spiders in the ecosystem are going to be loving it. They're doing their job and they're eating the smorgasbord because of the mosquitoes. So if I go through and I spray for mosquitoes, that's a pretty big risk, because when we spray for mosquitoes in communities, it impacts the honeybees, it impacts the butterflies, it impacts the moths. There's a much bigger, I guess, ecosystem impact than just like the one insect. Do you know what I mean? So when we think about mosquito control, my first bit of advice, to be honest, is do it in moderation. Only do what you feel like you absolutely have to do in order to help bring nature back into balance. Our job is not to eliminate mosquitoes. Our job is to have a balance in the ecosystem where they can have a place, so can the bats, but so can we, where we're not overwhelmed, or our plants are not overwhelmed by one element in the ecosystem. I feel like as permaculture designers, our job is more to be an orchestrator, like a conductor of an orchestra, than it is to be the eliminator and the exterminator. Because I feel like when we eliminate one area, we've just thrown the ecosystem off balance in another place. So when we look at mosquito control, let's talk about three different areas. So first is our personal space. Second is close proximity, 5-6 feet. And then let's talk about like the long range. So when I approach these things myself and in my own life, I like to do things as organically as possible for obvious reasons. I'm a cancer survivor. So for me personally, I don't use off or DEET. I choose not to do that. So for me in my personal space, to help with mosquito control, my first line of defense is using herbs and plants topically. So if I'm doing a spray, I'm thinking like diluting with like witch hazel. Usually I'll dilute some lemongrass or citronella or something like that, and I'll spray, that as my insect repellent. And there's some really good, Grateful Soul Gardens has a really good, fly off or fly away. Her insect spray is fantastic. You can order that online. I'll try to remember to put a link for that in the comments below. I don't get a kickback from them. I just really like them and like their products. So that's my first line of defense, is some kind of a spray. You can also take the plants directly. Take lemongrass and rub it on your body. Take beautyberry, rub it on your body. If you want a cooling spray, my favorite to use on my person, but also on animals and livestock, it's safe for horses, it's safe for cattle, it's safe around the chicken coop, is American beautyberry, not the berries. So you take the leaves, throw a bunch of them in a crock pot, make a really strong tea, or just put it on the stovetop for 10 minutes. Make a really strong tea, strain it out, let it cool. I like to put it in a spray bottle and leave it in the fridge, because it'll last for 1 to 2 weeks in the fridge, but only like 2 or 3 days on the countertop. So I put it in the spray bottle, that really strong tea, take it outside and spray myself. And American beautyberry leaves, top notch. I really like it. It's been super effective. Works great for like cattle horn fly, when those flies that get around the tops of the cattle's head. I've used it in the chicken coop to keep like fleas or mice or mice or lice away. I was like, what am I talking about? I need more coffee. So I think the plant approach is really good for the person. Now, when we're talking about close proximity, so think around your patio or around your deck or the front porch. You can use plants. Now, it's kind of a myth that if you plant lemongrass, it'll eliminate all the, whatever from your yard. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Most of those plants, lemongrass, citronella, panadol, they work great in a close proximity when they're moving and releasing those terpene droplets into the air. So lemongrass is pretty much useless if there's no wind and it's planted by your back door, or you're not brushing against it. Lemongrass is useless. Now, if you take your broom and you smack it or whatever, it releases those little micro droplets into the air. Now that does work. And panadol, same way. Citronella, same way. So they're great in areas that have a little bit of human contact, or where you can just kind of rough them up with a broom or a stick or something, or around your deck or patio where you're brushing up against them. Great placement for close proximity, but just don't think that citronella, lemongrass, panadol, those are not going to eliminate those pests and insects from all over the yard. Now, when we talk about long range areas, I don't spray like for insects across a property. I don't bring in the mosquito spraying guy. I don't like to do it. So I would rather let nature bring itself into balance. So I want to talk about 4 allies that from I think the greatest down to maybe the least effective, that are going to do way more damage to the mosquito community than I think I ever will. And they help balance my ecosystem. It's not fighting against it, if that makes sense. So the first one that I really promote are bats. Putting up bat houses or just allowing spaces where they can live is wonderful. I mean, it was very commonplace back in the day, the top areas of barns, to just let the bats live up there because they do a job around the rest of the farm. Now we're in this mindset of, we've got to just keep them out of everything. Sure, you don't want bat guano all over, your barn, but still you can give them a place. And so if you build them a bat house, a couple tips on your bat house. So tip number 1, keep it 15 to 20 feet in height. That's like the ideal height, 15 to 20 feet, for them to be wanting to fly into, to nest, and to hide. Second thing, don't let any limbs be nearby to where critters can come in. You don't want like raccoons or a great horned owl coming and raiding your bat box. You want those bats to be safe. So keep the limbs and stuff nearby. Third thing, face it in the the east or southeast direction. That's going to give them like 6 to 8 hours of sunlight per day, which is really what they want. And then if you have a water supply, they like within about a quarter mile, they like a stream or a pond. Bird baths, they don't really mess with, but a stream or a pond within a quarter mile is also really helpful. Now, the reason I like bats, I'm not going to sit and cuddle them. I don't want them near me. That's probably one of the animals that I'm terrified of the most are bats. When I was a kid, oh my gosh, I was a teenager and I had a part-time job as the janitor at our youth building, and I was like vacuuming and cleaning, and I opened up the stairway once, and I kid you not, this bat came flying down and was like smacking me in the face with its wings. I'm traumatized. I am 44 years old, 45, just turned 45. And I'm still traumatized by bats. Like it just scarred me for life, literally. So I want them at a distance. That's fine. I've never been close to a bat since. But I do like them because they'll catch up to 1,000 mosquitoes per hour. 1,000 mosquitoes per hour per bat. Like that's fantastic. I mean, that is one of your greatest allies as far as mosquito control is going to be those bats. Now, if you're like, hey, Edler, I can't do bats. Like, give me something nice and pretty and kind. Okay, great. Build a purple martin box. Now, purple martins are a great bird to have. They're the ones that have like the purple martin condos, you know what I mean? Like they have a very specific nesting box that they need to have. They are great because they will do about 2,000 mosquitoes, but it's only per day, so it's not per hour. So 2,000 mosquitoes per day per bird. So that's a little bit more like user-friendly mosquito control, not as effective as 1,000 mosquitoes per hour. So you're looking at 2,000 per day per bird. The third ally that I would encourage you to establish really good relationship with for all the reasons are dragonflies. Dragonflies, they'll only do about 1,000 per day, but you can have thousands and thousands of dragonflies in your habitat. But they need native grasses. They need taller native grasses. There's this, big movement right now that our fireflies are just disappearing. They have to have tall grasses. They will not survive in your manicured yard. So if you like the look of a manicured yard, great, leave it in your front yard or around the backyard, around the house. You need tall grasses, knee-high or above. That's where those dragonflies, the songbirds, there's so much wildlife. The fireflies are thriving in that meadow-type area that are never going to survive anywhere else. So if you want your kids or your grandkids to experience dragonflies, fireflies, you better leave the grass alone and stop the dang spraying. Like that, we've just got to get the perspective here. Nature was not meant to be a golf course. I'm sorry, it's just not. So those dragonfly, I get super passionate about it because we're shooting ourselves in the foot. I feel like for vanity's reasons. Stop mowing your grass. Like there's the spot in the back of the property here that it's about 8 acres in that direction, and we just stopped mowing about 4 of the acres. We mowed a pathway through it and just let the grass, let the Biden's alba come up. And you know what's happening is there's all these wildflower seeds in the seed bank. There's all these asters and laetris that are coming up and coreopsis and blanket flower. I'm thinking, where in the world did this come from? I would have never seen that beauty had I not just stop mowing that area. And it's less work, and it is really nice to just go walk. I mow the path, walk through the mowed path, and just enjoy nature, naturing. So those are the 3 areas that I would look at for mosquito control: is your personal space, using the herbs, close proximity, using the plants, and long range using nature's allies in that process. So